Good morning and welcome to Youth Sunday School here in is it the third Sunday? It's the third Sunday in January already. It's really flying by. And today I'm sitting here at the piano because I thought we could talk about sort of the importance of why we learn and study a lot of different things. So on the piano there are white keys and black keys. Now, some pianos are very fancy and very cool looking, and they actually switch the colors, so then all of these are black and all of these are white. It looks pretty impressive. Doesn't really make any difference, honestly, in terms of what the piano does, but it does look pretty cool. But if you don't know much about music or pianos, the black keys are all the sharps and flats, all the sharps and flats. And without them, we don't really have too much we can do on a piano. We can play, C scale. But other than that, you really can't do too much because you're missing all of these notes up here. And if you ever look at the hymnal, you'll notice that before, on the sheet music, there'll be little signs that look like hashtag signs. And then there's signs that look kind of like this, like that, somehow. And so that's the flat symbol, and then the hashtag is a sharp symbol. But we need those, because without those, all you get is a scale. You just get C's, And it's neutral. There's nothing really to it. So when you use sharps and flats, it allows the piano to do so much more. And so you can actually play music that sounds a lot more involved. Until you mess it up. But it really helps bring out the richness of the instrument and the tune and open up the possibilities of what we can do. So too is why we study a great many things, because it helps bring out the possibilities within each and every one of us. So when you're in school, you might study things like science. Kind of important to understand science. You understand scientific method and the variety of things that help us to become who we are, whether that's biology or physiology, anatomy, things like that. You also study things like math, which ties in with science often. But math helps us to understand how we build what we build. So you can do angles and structure and just the way that things are computed. You need math to build a piano, just like you need science to build a piano. And we would also then study history, because history is important. We need to understand what's happened in our past. Often our history will help us learn lessons that we can use to carry into the future, to avoid certain things. So, in our history, we learn a lot about our failures and how to overcome them. Now, when I was in school, we also studied English, so how to read books and poetry and understand it and break it down and write it ourselves, things of that nature. When I went to school, it wasn't until I got to college that I studied theology. Now, I got a little bit of it in church. I got a little bit of it at home, but I really didn't get it until I was in college and started taking theology classes. And really, theology is just how we study our faith and how we study the Bible and who we are. And so this is an important one because it helps round us out, because it makes us think about things in different ways, and it helps us think about things outside of ourselves. When we think about our faith and what it means for us and our theology, it's how we understand God at work in the world. And that reflects sort of how we view the world. So if we believe and we understand God as being at work in the world in a way that only affects individual people, but has no effect on the whole of society, then our theology is going to be a little more self-oriented. I need to take care of myself. I need to have myself right. But if we understand God working in broad strokes and through us and working in the whole world for some bigger plan or for some bigger goal that we are a part of, then our theology is going to be more expansive. God is here among all of us to build the kingdom. Or our theology can be some kind of mix of those things. God is working to build the kingdom while also working on me. And we can have both personal and social theology. But we need all of that stuff. We need science, we need math, we need English, we need theology, we need God helping society and God helping us. Just like a piano needs the white keys and the black keys to be able to get along and to make beautiful music that isn't just one-sided and boring. And so that isn't to say that we can't make beautiful music with only using these white keys here, but it will definitely be flat and missing a whole dimension to what it should be. And of course, my insulin pump wants to beep in the middle of this video. But that's part of the challenge, is figuring out who we are in a more full way. And my hope is that that's what church and studying Jesus and learning more about him and stuff can be for you, is that it's an opportunity to learn more about who you are in here and how that affects who you are in the grand scope of the world. So my challenge to you this week is to take time and think about that and ask yourself some deep questions as you look at a new year and are trying, hopefully, to grow in an area, that you would ask yourself, who is Jesus to me? How do I understand the work that he did and the work that he calls me to do? And how does that affect how I view the world in which we live? The other reason it's important to do this work is because, especially right now, there's so many different things going on. Not many of them, not the big ones that we hear about, are the most positive. And so it can be kind of overwhelming and stressful and make us feel like we're missing out on something. And so in those times, it's helpful to have a solid theology because it grounds us as we come up against obstacles and challenges to keep moving forward and to keep working on new things. So this week, that's my challenge to you, is to spend time digging into those questions and answers. And if you don't have answers, but you do have questions, then I would challenge you and invite you to reach out to me to help bounce those off. And I'm happy to have those conversations so that we can make more beautiful music and not simply be stuck with the same notes over and over again. So have a great week and make some beautiful music.